Welcome to the second episode of Series 32, everyone. We actually get to creating our characters this episode, so we can't wait for you to hear how they all come together. But before we get to that, here are some announcements. First up, it's AudioVerse Finals time, everyone. There are a few shows on the One Shot Network that deserve your attention. First up, it's AudioVerse Awards Finalists time, everyone. There are a few shows on the One Shot Network that deserve your attention. Campaign Skyjack's Courier's Call, The Broadswords, and a show that I have a little something to do with, A Horror Borealis, all have some nominations in there somewhere. So this process is getting things from all of the nominations down to 10 nominations per category. So this process does require a bit of picking and choosing some unfamiliar shows and people because they make you nominate 10 items per category. But if you stick to the one-shot shows and then branch out from there, you'll be in good standing. Might I also suggest keeping an eye out for nominations for the audio fiction show Valence? It's definitely well deserved if you haven't heard it before. And they've got quite a few nominations, so that might actually pad out your nominations list quite a bit in some categories. In other news, keep an eye out this coming Friday, October 16th, because I am going to start live streaming a brand new campaign on Twitch. If you head to my channel at twitch.tv/LordNeptuneRB, that's R as in Ryan, B as in Bolter, and follow, you can easily get right to the action. Starting at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, I'll be leading a really great group of folks through the Session Zero to the campaign. What game will we be running, you may be asking? Well, you may have heard me talk about it a few times on the show, but we're going to be running the latest version of Chimera, the Powered by the Apocalypse game that I have been developing with Amaraz. And we are going to be blending together 3 genres: fantasy, superheroes, and magical girls, and then seeing what world that makes and creating characters from those 3 genres. It should be a really fun time, so definitely check it out. We'll be posting about it a lot when it comes to go time. I believe that's all the announcements we have for today's episode. With all of that out of the way, let's get on with the show. Enjoy. All right, so what's everybody thinking of choosing?
Okay, I kind of want to do a glean.
Gleans
Okay.
are cool. Cool as heck.
Amelia was right. I'm going to go with Eno.
Oh my gosh, Eugenio, what are you going to make this time?
Well, so I want to either make a Peacecraft or an Olren because we don't have those on our show.
I was between Peacecraft and Olren too, so we should just, okay. Because we don't have one on the show. That's exactly what I was
That's
like,
exactly
I want to know.
it. Yeah, I want to check that out.
Okay, then I will pick Olren. I want to be a crystal.
Okay, great. I will do Peacecraft,
person.
which is great because the very first body that Atash inhabited was an Olren, so I've already dove into their abilities a little bit, so this is perfect.
All right, Olren for me. Crystal boy.
All right, so since I chose Eno, it gives me a distinction. I have to choose one of 4 houses.
Yep, your families, the ruling families there. So each of them has sort of a role in the culture that they oversee. So you can do science, or you can do, I don't have it in front of me. I went Crystal Boy. I can't see anything.
Oddly enough, okay, so there's the Nove, which is in charge of defense. The ore, which is in charge of science efforts. The tin considers itself the most practical of the houses. It's used to material acquisitions, make sure the empire is fed. Okay. And the seals, CL, I don't know, Kiel, they maintain governance over magic in space. So literally, aside from the cat people thing, the one reason I actually chose this one was because of the ore house, which is in charge of the science efforts. And they were originally commonly including, they did like terraforming, but now they're concerned with stopping the burns advance, which is probably my main drive for wanting to create a character in this.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's stop that burn.
Yeah, and what's sort of interesting, sidebar, can I do a sidebar about magic in this world?
Go for it.
Yeah, so what's really, really cool about magic in this world is that most people, most places aren't inherently magical. Magic is actually a resource that you can very much have to mine and then process and then use in your spells. So all magic in the universe is basically, or in this galaxy, is basically comes from a substance called plasma, which is actually mined in plasma wells, which works a lot like fossil fuels that we have like on Earth. So basically these omniscient beings that Eugenio referenced earlier, like Black Ice Koa is one of these beings. Plasma comes from when one of those beings, when they die, their body breaks down into this source of plasma that's deep under the earth. And then people go and mine it up. So it was great before the burn came and they were just discovering all these plasma wells and it was awesome. And, everybody had magic and everything came to rely on magic. But when the burn happened, a lot of those periphery planets that had these wells started to get burnt up. And then basically for the first time, they're like, uh-oh, we're going to run out of plasma. So that's a very real problem in the galaxy right now. It's, using these plasma wells. Plasma is so expensive. And if you find a new well, it's a whole reason to start a war or, people will trade and bargain and steal just to get access to magic because it's become sort of a crutch for a lot of people in Alaxis. So like the Eno's, discovery and use of magic is huge and has a lot of complicated elements to it. So yeah, I just love that. You have to like mine for magic. It makes so much sense.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got our species.
Yeah, I had to pick my reliquary too.
Oh, which one did you pick?
Which one did you go with?
Yeah.
I went with is it Zalus? It makes the bearer more bombastic while also making them more prone to jealousy.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cool too. In the back, they have a pronunciation guide in the compendium.
Just going to say that.
Yeah.
And the reliquaries are all in the guide because some of them are sort of odd.
It definitely, I had some from stumbling the first time I was reading through some of this. Cthulhu, for some reason, I just couldn't say Cthulhu. The apostrophe scared me, I guess.
Fair enough.
I do like that it gives you example names.
Oh, yeah,
too,
that's
like the naming.
Yeah.
They're really great about that.
Oh, I got it right. It was Zalus.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
So which one did you choose? I missed it.
I went with the Zalus, which makes the bearer more bombastic while also making them more prone to jealousy.
Nice. I saw the word bombastic and I was like, sweet.
Yes.
Sold.
Great word.
Sold. All right. Any other options for species that we need to call out?
Nope.
Yet.
Just
Okay, cool.
looking through. The next one is sort of interesting. Culture is a really cool part of character creation. So that's the next tab here.
Mm-hmm.
Next. All right. Yeah. So the way that this is presented in the Charactermancer is you can choose from a bunch of different existing systems, and it'll give you information as you click on them. Just like with the species, the descriptions will come up on the side. You can also create a custom system. Celeste already mentioned, the galaxy is a big place. Even though it's finite, it's still a big place. So you can absolutely create your own system that has, the type of background that you want. But what's important here is that there are basically going to be 4 markers about any given civilization that tell you what kind of civilization, what kind of system or culture, not civilization, what kind of culture and system there is there. And those 4 markers are also going to tell you a little bit about how you're going to build your character. So the 4 markers, which are ultimately what I think we'll want to look at now, are what kind of borders do they have? Are the borders open to anyone, or are they super isolationist or somewhere in between? How diverse are the people of that system? Is it truly just the Kithooks? Is it super homogeneous? Is it super inclusive? There's a little bit of everybody there. Or is it sort of inclusive but partitioned? So each different species has sort of their area of the system. The third marker, it talks about economics, which is basically just how rich is the system in general. Very straightforward. And finally, density. Is this an urban system with lots of big cities? Is this a rural system with lots of farms? Or is it a suburban system with lots of strip malls?
Which is totally a thing in Burn Bryte. There are absolutely planets like that.
Joking, but also not at all.
Some parks and soccer fields.
Yeah.
That's right.
For me, it's pretty easy to make this choice because since I'm playing an all-around, their home planet is Marthong. So Marthong is one of the systems that they've already provided as an option. So I'm not going to get creative. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that my character grew up on the planet. So I'm going to select them, and their borders are isolationist. So because they constantly are fighting to keep other people out. Do want to take their stuff. Density suburban. So basically there are, main cities, but there is some space for people to live and grow at their own rate. Diversity homogenous, again, because it's mostly Olrans there, since most other species can't be trusted in their opinion, because the home planet has plasma wells, and they also have this special aura that helps magic, and it's homogenous. And economics, then wealthy, because Marthong does have all of these resources. So I think my character is used to a certain amount of wealth.
Yeah. There are each of the 4 markers and each of the categories within each marker has a different mechanical thing that it will do for you, right? You might get more or fewer species special abilities. Obviously, the wealth system, the wealth marker is going to tell you how much starting argent you have to buy supplies. But what I love about this, and when we did our session 0 for Burning Daylight, I didn't know any of that, right? I hadn't actually had a chance to look at what each of the markers would do for the rest of my character creation process. And it matters, of course it matters, but as we were creating it wasn't so important. What was important to the 5 of us as we created these characters was the story of where we were from, right? Yeah. I knew that I wanted my Zavoy to have fled their homeworld and ended up sort of somewhere relatively rural, living a sort of quiet conservationist life out on the farm, and whatever. So I picked a system that did that, and then the Charactermancer filled in the mechanical things as I kept going. Nice. So, each of the existing systems has a little paragraph, what they're about. And frankly, that's how I would choose. I mean, if you want to go in and game the system and make sure you get, as many special abilities, you're welcome to do that. But this game is so story-based, and it does it so well that, I don't know, read your paragraph, your system blurbs and go from there.
Well, they also do such a good job of balancing everything here in this already, all of the proposed systems. And they already give you 15 to pick from or something. There are a ton already built in there. And also in the rules, they talk about if you want to build your own culture, they give you guidelines on how to do that. So even if you do want to create a character from none of the known systems and you want to make your whole own world, they definitely give you the tools to do that. This is so fun getting to make a character.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're finally getting to do it.
I've just been helping people make characters.
Okay. So My thought process was, if I am a person that wants to stop the burn, I would want to collaborate with as many people as possible.
Great.
So I would want like an open borders and an inclusive system or diversity. Maybe not poor, but at least intermediate economics. Probably urban. I could probably go suburban. And really one of the only ones that I saw that met those criteria was Tesella. The Tesella system. Which sounds interesting. Looks like it's got like a mining homeworld or city or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to click into it, but if I remember correctly, Tsela is where the ARC, the Alliance of Relief and Conservation, they have a base there in an old mine. Why is it not? Oh, here it is. Yeah. So so the ARC comes up in Burning Daylight, and Celeste can speak to it way more than I can because I don't know yet. But they're a pretty major organization in your storytelling.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so basically the Alliance of Relief and Conservation was started during the last Bryte when, wars and exploration and everything, there are beginning to be a lot of problems in a galaxy with a lot of different species who wanted a lot of different things from a lot of different places. So the ARC was started and was largely helped along by species like the Peacecraft, whose mission is all about helping others and, stopping war efforts. So the ARC is kind of this big, like, heroic organization that popped up that basically takes talented adventurers and individuals and gives them missions and assignments to help other people. So it's like a giant volunteer hero organization out there. And it started off as this big, awesome thing, but when the burn hit, everybody got scattered and preoccupied with, helping themselves and their peoples first. So the ARC still exists, but it's sort of this scattered volunteer system that has chapters in different places, and there's not this overarching structure that there used to be. So there are ARC agents and little bastions across the galaxy, but there's no big effort there. But the ARC is a great way for new GMs to Burn Bryte 2 to introduce missions and to give your adventurers or heroes a reason to be together and a reason to do good out in the galaxy. So they're a pretty cool go-to in terms of sort of your adventuring guild, in Alaxis.
All right, so I'll go with the Tesella system.
Yeah. I am going to go with the Cavabel asteroid fields, I feel like, because it said that they were asteroids filled with water, and that sounded cool to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Water. They were born in water. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah. That would make sense.
And just to be weird, and actually I sort of chose at random that had some different markers than my character in Burning Daylight. But turns out this Peacecraft has spent a lot of time on the Panlin system, which is yet another ocean world. And let's see, it is a selectively bordered, suburban, partitioned, intermediately wealthy system. So there you go.
Cool.
Where was your character from, Celeste?
Oh, so I picked the Marthong system.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, so built into these given species or given cultures, there are a lot of indicators for if you want to just go to the home world of some of the 8 playable species. So I went ahead and picked Marthong, which is built into the Olran backstory. Basically, that's the planet they hail from.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so I went ahead and just selected that.
All right.
Because I like easy choices.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like after the culture is the story path.
Ooh, yes.
There it is.
Oh my gosh. This one is hard to pick because they have so many good ones.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So basically, when you're choosing your story path, you are choosing that, that B plot that is happening to your character, while you're going along and plot A. So these stories speak a lot to sort of what you want for your character or the general direction you think they're going in terms of their growth or their story. And these are things, it's built into the GM section talking about how over the course of about every 2 hours of play, you should hit a story path for one of the characters. You should hit one of these story path events. So that's something that's really encouraged for the GMs to build these little plots inside of the bigger plots that are happening. It's also, talked about how at the beginning and end of every session, you should, as a group, review your story paths and talk about what your next one is, and your expectations for it. So it's really encouraged that this is a big part of your character. And I mean, they're all over the place from,
there's so many good ones.
Battle, Artifact Unleashed, Face Fear, Gain Followers, Love, On the Run, Recover. There's so much.
And these are all very evocative too. Like you can easily see that there's a lot of avenues probably just from the one sentence that they have here.
Yeah. Anybody seeing anything that's catching their eye in particular? I think I have mine. So we talked about, the Peacecraft are these giant mechs, these robots, that a lot of their special abilities already have to do with altering themselves and having gun cannons appear on their arms and things like that. So I think I'm going to go with the upgrade story path, which is about upgrading your body and its performance capabilities. And I think that Alienware 17, which is the name of my Peacecraft, because it was the first thing that I saw. I think their story path is going to not be about adding more tech to their body, but about what happens if a Peacecraft decides that they want to introduce biological components to their body. So I'm going to go with the upgrade story path. And every story path has, I can't remember if we've already mentioned this, but it has 5 distinct steps. A beginning step that sort of kicks off the story for your character, obviously then an ending step as the 5th one. And a lot of these will have ending steps that have some possibilities if you succeed at whatever you've been trying to do, or if you fail, and there'll be different character advancement options based on whether you succeed or fail at your plan. And then usually 3 intermediate steps. Sometimes the order doesn't matter, or they're a little more flexible. Sometimes the intermediate steps are a little more codified. Obviously, this is still a narrative game, so everything is sort of up in the air. But while you all have a look for yours, just really quickly, the upgrade story path steps are, the first one is to make a plan for how I'm gonna upgrade, discover a new way to modify it, maybe meet a new scientist that's gonna help me with it. The second step is to actually do the upgrading of my body. The third step is to upgrade my brain, or my brain chemistry, or I guess my processor, since I'm a Peacecraft. The fourth event after the first 2 quote unquote small modifications is to make a big change. And the final step of mine is to go beyond mortal. I've experimented and changed, and now I'm really pushing the limits that changes me in some significant way. And as I make each of those steps, I either get to increase dice size, I get new special abilities, what have you.
Oh, I love that, especially with the whole, like, the Peacecrafter, trying to find a way to stop, like, dying permanently in the burn. Maybe that's some kind of motivation there.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. We've tried all the technological approaches. Maybe there's something to this organic thing.
Ooh.
I picked Bond.
Yeah.
Where I try to become best friends with someone.
Yay!
with one of the player characters.
With one of the player characters.
I like it.
I thought this would go really well with my jealousy thing.
Yeah.
I thought that would be fun to play out. So, the first event, we should hang out more. My second, third, and fourth are interchangeable.
Yeah.
Night out. Never told anyone this, and trust you with my life. And then the final one is I basically ask them, so are we best friends? Hope that they're my best friend and I'm also their best friend, because it's really awkward when it's not the same.
It's amazing. For myself, I actually have an idea for the character that went a little bit in a different direction when I saw this one. Double life. So I want to say that my character maybe had some unpopular scientific theories about the burn, and was kind of is kind of on the outs with the other Eno scientists, and maybe they are just trying to kind of hide while doing their research on the down low.
Yeah,
effectively. So this one is, the first event is the new you, where you have to create your fake identity. The second event is fake ID, where you actually have to have, fake identification, like government, space driver's license, I guess. Fool someone you know is the third event, where like if you actually reveal your identity to them, it could put you or them in danger. Fourth event is your alter ego's purpose. Did you finish the mission that required it? Did you get away from whoever was chasing you, etc.? And then the fifth event, who do you become? And now that you no longer need your cover identity, will you become your alter ego again, or are you content to let them die? And you can get some rewards either way, which is interesting.
Oh. Some of these, I mean, it's so awesome. The diversity you can have with these, you know, like the one Amelia picked is all about making a relationship with another player in the game. Or like the one you picked, Ryan, it's like, oh my gosh, like who, you know, building this whole elaborate backstory. And then like, yeah, Eugenio's is about questing to, you know, change them fundamentally who they are. I think the one I'm going to pick is create masterpiece. So you are determined to create an amazing piece of art. Could be a painting, song, software, weapon, anything that can emotionally move others. For some reason, I really see my Olran as wanting to leave the planet to like craft the perfect weapon. Specifically, like swords come to mind, like my, you know, go on my Hattori Hanzo quest to get out there and like find, you know, the most beautiful and the most perfect material or way to make this weapon. I feel like would be a great reason why my Olran has left the home world, you know, to be inspired and to discover, you know, the perfect thing, like it's out there, you know, in the galaxy, and I have to find it before it's consumed by the burn. So the first event for that is inspiration. So you find something that inspires your work of art. You know, it's that initial spark. The second event, blueprint. So you make your plan for what you're going to make. Third event, missing ingredient. So you determine and you find that specific thing that's going to make your masterpiece what it is. The fourth event is completing your masterpiece. And then the fifth event is presenting your masterpiece. And what's cool about this, there's a bunch of different options about how this can go. So there's a different reward if you sell it. There's a reward if you give it to someone. And there's different reward if you keep it for yourself. Ooh. So it's kind of cool to see, what you decide to do with this thing you've made actually determines, you know, how your character advances.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
We have wildly different and interesting story paths.
It is such a fun and interesting challenge as a GM to, you know, once you get these story paths, to weave them, especially for someone like me who's running a module for this game. So weaving these story paths into the world of the module in a way that makes sense and is meaningful is an interesting challenge as a GM when running Burn Bryte.
All right, so skills.
Yeah.
This is where it gets a little crunchy.
Yes, it is a little crunchy. So I will say to help you all out while you're making the sheet here, basically at the end of this, you want all those numbers in the bottom to be 0.
Oh, okay. So, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so don't change things on the drop down. Go ahead and change things in the zeros columns. That will help you out a lot.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a couple. This screen is a little quirky, and there's like a couple of ways that you can achieve the same thing, but only like 1.5 of them will make it look nice.
Yeah. And this is something that I do know the Roll20 team is constantly developing and working on to improve, which is sort of nice when you build a game for an online platform. You can actually update it and constantly make it better instead of, you know, it's printed in a book.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Yeah. And
interesting. So I see when you hover over them, it says like +1 any or +1
yeah.
mental. So if I want to use that one, I put it in. Okay. I think I got it.
Okay. So there are 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 5 dice, 5 die sizes, right? And there are 6 skills per category, it looks like.
Yeah. So you can never have lower than a D4 in anything. So that's why everything is already set to a D4. So it's already assuming that you have a D4 in everything.
Okay.
Now, again, the nice thing about doing this to the Charactermancer is what this sheet has done for each of us individually is it took the culture choice that we made, and maybe our species choice, possibly, I can't remember, and it took those choices and already tells us in that little box chart on the bottom how many of each dice size we get to upgrade. So, my numbers are going to look a little bit different because of my culture choice than yours, but they're all down there and it tells you exactly how you can divvy them up. Whether the D6 pool that you have to divvy up can be in any type of skill, if it has to be in a mental skill, a physical skill, a social skill. And here, each of the 18 skills have descriptions, but again, this is very narrative. It's sort of about how you can imagine using these skills, right? So when my character did that point of shaming damage, mental shaming damage the other day, I think I used presence, which is a social skill, but I could have very easily used performance if I wanted to. I could have used empathy if I had made a case to Celeste for, understanding how this person thinks, and that's how I'm getting to them. So the specific descriptions of each of the skills are helpful, but don't let them be restrictive as you think about how you're divvying up your skills.
Do I need to check the box next to a skill?
So one way to get the numbers to be nice and 0 at the end is to check the box for any skill that you're going to change the drop down on. So for example, if you want to change your deceive to a D6, because you have a D6 in your chart at the bottom, check the box and then do the drop down menu. And that will count it down from your chart.
Okay.
Will it only pull it from the any, or because I have a physical that I can pick a D10 in?
That's a really good question that I don't know the answer to. So let's find out.
So if I don't check it and I drive to the drop down to D10, it pulls it from that one. But if I check the any. So if I check any, it does it from the any.
Yep.
So see, I'm still learning. So yes, the checkbox is telling the system that you want to pull it out of your any row. Okay. If you don't check it, it'll try and pull it from the specific skill type row. So physical, mental, or social.
Okay.
Then the last thing that is also a little quirky is that a lot of the culture options will give you on the far right, that column just says +1. Some of the culture options will say increase any die size by 1. It doesn't say you get a D6 and a mental skill. It just says increase any. On this Charactermancer, the way that you'll do that, if you have, let's say, for example, I have the number 2 in my +1 any. So that first column of zeros, I'll go in there and change that to a 1, where I want to increase the die size by 1.
Gotcha. Okay. So you won't change it in the drop down.
Correct. In that case, if I'm using the +1 and not a specific die size, use the column of zeros.
Can you set it to a die size and add +1 to that?
Yes,
and then do
you
the
can.
+1, yeah.
Yep, absolutely you can. And what's also super cool is that so the drop down and then the column of +1s will all add themselves together, and all the way on the far right you see the visual representation of the die. That should ultimately represent what the die is. So if you change it to a D6 and add a +1, that far right blue column should show a D8.
So hard to pick. So many good.
And I'm sitting here gabbing and haven't made a single choice. So here we go.
I know. I gotta go back and
So I am trying to choose between a D10 for a physical skill. I can't choose between athletics, melee, or skullduggery. Ooh, stealth is good too. Darn it. There's too many good skills.
That's a good problem to have during character creation.
It is. And remember, you're going to end up having to use your bad skills too if you want those Nova points.
Yeah.
Right? So what I've actually learned from our couple of sessions of Burning Daylight is if there's a skill that you know your character is going to want to use a lot. Yes, there is something to be said for giving it a large die size, but there's also something to be said for picking one skill that you think you might use a lot and leaving it as a D4 or making it a D6, because that'll make it that much easier for you to go to that die size and check it off of your Nova point list.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I may love to, play the tuba, but I might be terrible at it. So maybe my perform is still at a D4, but I do it all the time, right?
I don't know what I want my character to do. Like, I don't have a job.
Well, I mean, a lot of gleans, you can go back to kind of species inspirations are inventors or artists. So perhaps there's something along those lines.
Okay. Just want to make friends.
Yeah. Maybe you're a performer. Who knows? You love slam poetry. I don't. you love improv. You just want to make friends, so you join improv troops all across Alexis.
Oh. No.
Oh.
I know. I'm definitely building this all around like a Klingon. Like, let's be real. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, decorum, yes. Presence, yes.
I love it.
All right. I've got 3 more dice and 2 +1s to assign somewhere. I haven't picked any social. No, I have. I've got 1 social skill at a D12. So, and really, you want to have 1 of each die type across all your skills, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that that it talks about in advancement is that you can never not have a die type somewhere in your 18 skills.
Okay.
So if you only have, let's say, 1d6 skill after several, story arc enhancements, you cannot upgrade that d6 to a d8 until you upgrade a d4 to a d6 first.
Okay.
And that's a good way to keep your character balanced, but also it just mechanically means that you can continue to get Nova points. If you eliminate a die type entirely from your sheet, then you can no longer gain Nova points because you won't be able to roll 1 of each die type anymore.
That makes sense, because I've got I've got 1 D8 that actually I have 2, but say I only had 1 and I applied that somewhere and add a +1 to it. Now I have no D8s, right? And I would never be able to get a Nova until I actually level up and...
Exactly right.
Okay,
exactly
so that
right.
makes sense. So
they just head that off at the pass by saying you always have to have at least 1 of each die type somewhere. Yeah. Doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be in any particular type of skill, but it's got to have at least 1 somewhere among the 18.
Okay, that makes sense.
Aha, there it is. All right.
Okay.
One other thing that I just discovered that I did not remember from before, if anyone is having issues getting your +1 column to go down after you've put 1s in, I had to actually hit enter after I put the 1 in rather than just tabbing off of it. I do not remember that being the case when we did our Sessions Hero for Burning Daylight, but who knows? They're fiddling all the time. I will say the Roll20 team has been really, really great and really responsive to us, letting them know when we discover bugs, or just when we say, this actually is a little confusing, or this might be easier to work with if it looked something like this. They've been really great about responding to that and sort of taking it to their developers, and obviously not implementing every suggestion we have. What a nightmare. But they've been great to us about that.
Oh, there we go.
To use to get the Nova points, does it have to be 1 skill of each size in that skill group, or just in general?
Just in general.
Because I was like, I can't make these match.
No.
No matter what I do, I don't have a 10 here.
Yeah, no, you could do it all in. You could do it all in mental, or you could do 2 from each subgroup.
Cool.
Yep.
Oh goodness. Okay. Cool.
And as a reminder, I know we already said this, but it bears repeating as a reminder, you don't have to succeed on the roll. You just have to make the roll.
Yeah.
Cool.
Plenty of D4s, which is by design.
Yes.
Okay, I just
and usually a good chunk of D6s as well. You'll start off with. Oops.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot. I have to look on the right hand side. Only got one D10. But I can see it being useful in a lot of situations too. So my stealth is a D10.
Yeah.
I went hard into the social skills.
Yeah, I kind of leaned in different areas that I thought I was going to a little bit. But I think that's interesting.
Yeah. I like my Olran. I didn't have any like +1 bonuses in anything. So it was all like, it's kind of cool. They're super even across the board. I feel like I'm really well represented in physical, social, and mental just based on my background and everything. So
nice.
Nice.
Yeah, my D12s, I've got 2 of them. One in deceive and one in knowledge.
Ooh, you have 2. I only had 1.
I +1'd one of the
I had no +1s. That's so weird.
That's so interesting. What, remind me, Celeste, what system are you from?
So I'm from Marthong, which is the home world of the Olran. Yeah, so I have 1 D12, which I put in melee because I imagine I am Uma Thurman.
Well, you want to be able to use those swords.
Yeah, exactly. I need to know. But then it was cool because I put a bunch of stuff into decorum. So because I imagine, my rules of fighting are, a big deal in my head. And I probably have a warrior's code, coming from Olran and, having that military honor culture.
Yeah,
nice.
That's interesting.
What am I good at? I just clicked away from
points
mine.
In skullduggery too.
Gotta love it. I'm very good at computers and engineering. Those are my high ones.
Oh, nice. I'm mediocre at computers and fairly okay. D8 with engineering.
I don't understand computers.
Tash doesn't either. I feel that.
But I did put points in engineering because I think I'm mechanical engineering, sort of, run my forge, make my weapons.
Totally.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I've got good scores in perform and presence.
Nice. Improv, telling you.
I put a D8 in suave.
Oh, I have a D8 in suave too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I am not.
This is so far a very different character than I'm used to playing.
Great.
Cool.
Love
See
that. Love that.
But I'm very invested in their story so far.
Yeah. Well, do we want to go ahead and move on to abilities? Because there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
There's so many cool options. All right, let's do it.
They're awesome. So this one's also, I will say this page of the Charactermancer probably is gonna be adjusted as time goes on, because right now it's the only page, as far as I can tell, that doesn't automatically sort of tell you exactly how many of each type of ability you are allowed to choose. So this is also determined by culture, but unlike the skills tab, you'll have to go back to your culture and look at, I believe it's the diversity marker that tells you how many special abilities and how many Nova abilities you can choose when you start out. So, for example, my culture has partition diversity, which gives me 1 special ability and 2 Nova abilities to start.
It looks like there's one from economics too.
Oh, it could be.
Yeah,
could be.
I've got 1 from density. And
okay. So it's all over the place then.
1 from diversity. And 2 Nova abilities.
There you go.
Diversity as well.
The other thing is that if you have free ones based on either your species or sometimes, so for example, one of my story events can, once I've completed it, gives a special ability. So those are already included in here, even if you haven't gotten to that step yet. Okay. The species automatic ones and your story ones will already be included on this list.
Yeah, so I've got my species one here, and this is interesting because it says during character creation, you can increase the die sizes of 2 skills by 1. Oh. And I can actually swap those out and change the skills to which these increase is apply after an 8-hour rest.
Oh, yes.
So it sounds like I can go back to the skills tab and add some elsewhere.
No, those are already populated in there. But it does it for you.
But I got the culture for my economics to increase +1 to any 2 skills.
So I bet you can actually do that a couple of ways. I bet it didn't include it in your skills tab for the Character Mancer because it's something that you can adjust with every session or with every game day on the fly. So you could certainly go in and change it in the skills tab here for where you want it to start. But we'll see when we populate the character sheets that you can also adjust them. Obviously, you can adjust them because you have to be able to advance your character. But you can also do that manually in the finished character sheet.
I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah, do it. I should probably pick a species ability.
I think I get 2 species abilities. 1, 2. Yes. 2 species, 2 Nova.
Uh-oh. There are some wild Olran abilities. Did you know being made of crystal is weird?
What?
Oh my God, shard body. Your body grows crystal shards that can be broken off and used as weapons.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I can use my own body spikes. Whoa.
I wonder if that hurts.
Wait, so I get 1 species ability, 2 Nova abilities. So how do I know which ones are which?
So if you look at the very top of not the tabs, but right below that, where you could hit next and previous, for example, in skills to switch.
Oh, okay.
There you can switch between special abilities and Nova. Man, all the Peacecraft ones are like guns.
How do I know which ones are species abilities? Do I have to go back to my species to look at those?
So in the species abilities part of this, they should all be species abilities. And then if you hit next, then it'll give you the list of Nova abilities.
It only has special abilities or Nova abilities. So of the special abilities, am I only seeing ones for my species?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Now I understand your question. Okay. Yes, it has filtered out to our species for that. Yes.
Gotcha. Cool.
Well, I guess I'm going to go with gun turret just because it's the prerequisite for a cool one that I want later.
So I went back and I added +1 to my presence to make it a D6 and +1 to my perception to make it a D6.
Cool.
Nice.
That works. I get to check 2 special abilities. Oh, wow. There's so many.
Oh, I forgot. Olrens are really great pilots. So I have a lot of interactions with the ship for combat. Makes me really good at driving it. For
my Peacecraft, we actually get 2 free special abilities. One of them is related to the sort of resurrection thing with the servers that we talked about, that Celeste talked about when she described the species. The other one is the combine ability that allows smaller creatures to climb into my cockpit and move around with me. And there are other special abilities that I can take that, for example, let me heal the person that's in my cockpit or do other things with them. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, interesting. Gosh, there's so many good ones.
I know. This is hard.
Yeah.
Too many good options.
Yeah. Oh.
I kind of want to take Natural Liar.
Definitely help with your double life.
I know, right?
Whoa, I have an ability that just reduces the cost of all ship modules by 25%.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So a big part of this,
that one.
Yeah, so a big part of this game is, your ship and running it. So you have a ship character sheet that you all maintain as a group. And modules are the little amenities that you can buy to, increase damage or health or give your ship other benefits. So that is a pretty wild one. That.
So as I sort of click through mine, there's a lot of stuff that modifies the way that I can combine with other creatures that go into the driver's seat in me. And now I'm beginning to think that maybe Alienware 17's upgrade might have something to do, rather than just putting disparate biological parts. Maybe it's deepening the combination ability and actually becoming one creature with someone.
Whoa.
So my Nova abilities are also related to that. One of them allows me to activate an ability for 10 minutes where whenever either person, me or the person in my cockpit, make a skill roll, we can use each other's skill die sizes.
That's cool.
And the other one Oh, the other one allows me to become a Megazord and combine with up to 4 creatures instead of just 1.
Whoa. Whoa.
That's amazing. Oh, interesting. There's abilities that have prerequisites too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for my special abilities, I picked Electric Sense. You can feel the electrical impulses of a creature living nearby. Cool. You always know how many living creatures are within 100 feet of you. You cannot be surprised by another creature. And Mending Implant. You can touch a creature suffering from a negative condition and make a skill roll to heal that condition.
Nice.
And then for my Nova abilities, I picked Healing Touch. You can spend 1 Nova point and touch a creature who regains all their health levels. And Energized Companion. You can spend 1 Nova point and touch a creature and give them a major positive condition.
Nice.
Ooh, very cool.
We haven't talked much about...
because then maybe they'll be friends with me.
We haven't really talked about conditions. Celeste, do you want to...
Yeah, so conditions are another really interesting part of this game because the general numbers for enemies and like health levels and everything are very low in this game. So like starting out, you only start with 3 hit points unless you have some reason that modifies things. And it's always assumed that any attack does 1 damage unless you have equipment or a special ability that says otherwise. So to kind of balance that out, they have an interesting mechanic here called conditions, which are things that basically raise or lower the complexity of skill rolls. And the conditions themselves can be minor or they can be major. And basically what happens, like a minor condition is something that you might get that will affect 1 skill. So say, for example, instead of taking damage in combat, maybe your GM rules that, you get hit with a sword in the arm and you sustain some kind of injury there. So maybe they'll give you like a minor condition and they'll call it sprained arm or something. So that means specifically if you try to use the melee skill, you will have to increase the complexity of any checks by 1. A major condition that can happen to you actually affects a whole branch of skills. So say, for example, you get like a blow to the head and you get a concussion and the GM says, okay, well, I'm giving you a concussion, which feels like a major condition for your mental skills. So that means anytime you roll a mental skill, the complexity is increased by 1 because you have a head injury. So it's a cool balance of like, and a lot of chances for the GM, instead of dealing damage, you can choose to deal conditions. And in turn, a lot of these skills or abilities will give characters the opportunity to create condition advantages for people. So like if you embolden your allies, or like if you're in a good mood, maybe your presence, is better. So you have, all complexity checks for that are reduced by 1 if you have a minor condition for that. So it's a cool like checks and balances kind of system that they build in that rewards more storytelling other than like sort of just hack and slash mechanics for combat.
There's also, there is a third significant, they're called significant conditions.
Yeah, I was trying to remember.
I know, I had to look it up because I couldn't remember the name either. That affect all of your skills. Yeah. And actually the only reason that I remember that off the top of my head that existed is because conditions actually are another part of your damage tracker. Mm-hmm. So like Celeste mentioned, you start out with only 3 health levels is what they're called in this game. And when you hit 3 health levels, you don't immediately die or go unconscious. You get the lowest level condition negative condition that you don't already have. So if I take 3 damage and I don't have a minor condition, I'm going to get a minor condition, right? If I do already have it, I'll get a moderate. If I already have that, I get a significant. When you start being in danger of dying is when you've filled all your negative condition levels. You've got a minor and a moderate and a significant, and then you lose your 3 health levels, then you're in trouble. But it does expand your hit points a little bit beyond the initial 3.
Yeah.
And I will say, while you all are sort of looking through your last abilities, the last step of this character creation is just to spend the Argent that you're given as part of the economy marker of your culture to get equipment. And that's everything from weapons and personal shield generators and batteries for them to sort of the category of things that we would maybe consider quote unquote adventuring equipment. So lockpicks and smart tablets and disguise badges and things like that, on down to just fun things like Atash has a tabletop role-playing game in their inventory. So there's all kinds of things on there.
There's like guitar strings and all kinds of a vintner's kit.
Cameras. Atash also has a camera. But that tab of the Character Mancer is great because it automatically populates how much Argent you have based on your culture. It automatically subtracts from that total when you choose how many of what items you want. And then the super cool thing, I think, is that once you've filled out your inventory as much as you want, when you click next, it'll send your leftover Argent into the game chat so that the rest of your party can see it and add it together and collect it so that once you start building your ship, you know exactly how much Argent all of you have left over to apply to modules for your ship, which I think is sort of a cool way to handle all of that. What can be, admittedly, as much as I enjoy it, what can be sort of tedious math.
Yeah. And narratively, they also explain it as like you literally have to keep all your Argent as a pool in a tank on your ship. There's only one Argent tank, so it's not an option to have individual wealth, right? You have this one section where your money lives and grows in a tank.
Now I really want to create a character that has a giant Argent tank and swims around of it named Scrooge McDuck.
Yes.
Perfect.
So I picked my abilities. So I got my abilities and my Nova abilities. I started off with Skill Monkey, which I talked about before. But I also took Natural Liar, which reduces the complexity of skill rolls. Made to verbally trick or deceive others by 1 to a minimum of 2. And then the other one was Pressing the Advantage, which I thought sounded really interesting. When the team has 4 or more advantages banked, increase the dice sizes of all your social skills by 1.
Cool.
Which sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I guess that is another mechanic.
Yeah, we should explain advantage. So in this game, on your turn, when you go into combat, like we did mention before, you can take as many actions as you want on your turn until you basically fail something. And one of the things you can do as an action is spend your turn creating an advantage. So this is specifically a combat mechanic. And this is something like, say, you don't want to just run in there and like hit somebody or do something. You say like, oh, okay, these enemies are oncoming. I want to flip over this table so, we can hide behind it or, we can take some cover. And as the GM, I'd say, okay, that's great. So do your skill check. If that succeeds, you've created an advantage for your team. And advantages are things that actually bank for your group and form this kind of pool. And of course, some Nova abilities like yours are triggered by using or spending these advantages, which anybody can grab. You all have to agree as a group to grab or use an advantage. You can also choose to use an advantage to re-roll 1 dice as a skill. So say, you're like rolling complexity 4, you got 2 doubles, but if you can re-roll 1, maybe you can make the skill, you can spend that advantage to re-roll that dice. And what's kind of cool also is that the amount of advantages your team can have is directly linked to the livability rating of your ship. So the ship has 2 main stats. It's the ship health and the ship livability. And the livability is like how nice it is to live on your ship. Is it comfortable? Do you like it there? And so your livability, caps the amount of advantages you can have. So if you have a great, super cool, fun clubhouse ship that has like livability 5, that means that you can bank up to 5 advantages during combat.
I would like to point out that Wanda, our ship in Burning Daylight, has a livability of 5 because she's awesome.
She's awesome.
The other thing we should mention about livability, since we're talking about it, it tells you the maximum number of advantages your team can have. It also tells you the maximum number of Nova points that each of you individually can store up at once.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah, for my skills, I basically there's a skill called Inner Glow, which so you can make a skill roll to glow bright light that illuminates your space and all squares within 5 feet of you. And not only that, you become hot to the touch as you are illuminating. So anybody who hits you takes damage because you're like so bright and like you're burning bright. And so I love that. I love the idea of being like an Ulrun, like diamond person, and that's how I fight, and it's super scary. So I actually went ahead and took the next step, which the prerequisite was Inner Glow, to get to Strong Glow. So when I do my Inner Glow, it actually lasts for 10 minutes and illuminates all squares within 10 squares of me. Whoa. So I just like shine super bright, so bright, and just cause lots of problems in combat, which I loved it. I loved it. So that's what I picked.
Very good.
The Ulrun also have a Nova ability. What is it called? Let's see if I can find it.
Is it Unleash Heat? Because I took that.
No, that's super. That's the kinder version. But the one that I'm thinking of, I've got to find it.
Last Blast?
Last Blast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I took that too.
So I know about Last Blast because one thing that Zavoy, that is part of the Zavoy Inhabit Corpse ability, is that any physicality-based abilities, which of course is a very gray area, but any quote unquote physicality based abilities that the body that you are inhabiting had in life, you can access. Wow. And so the Ulrun that I inhabited also had Last Blast, which essentially makes you blow up and do damage when you reach 0 health levels.
Oh, wow.
I'm taking you all with me.
Yeah. If things had gone just a little differently in our combat,
we would have seen that. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I took every single. Ulruns are all about explosions and light and cool. So I'm all in. I'm all in with my abilities.
Clearly, you have created the Ulrun that in later years Atash would inhabit.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
It's canon now.
Spooky. That's what it is.
Yeah, the Nova abilities that I took were making friends.
Compared to explosions. We're different types of people.
Different strokes. What can I say?
Okay.
You could say I'm the Two-Face of the party.
Oh.
Ooh.
We could, but we won't.
I blow things up. I'm just the Joker. Oh, man.
Yeah. So I got making friends where I can kind of make friends with standard weak or minion creatures that you can see. As long as you're not in combat. So that's kind of, it feels like you're infiltrating a base or something like that. And you see like random scientist person who works for the evil person that you're going against. And you're like, hey, I really need your help. And they're like, okay, I'll help you.
Yeah. We're on the same side.
We're on the same side.
We speak the language of science.
And exactly. And then the other one that I took was special discount. So I can get 50% off the normal cost with a Nova point.
Nice.
Which I think could come in very handy at times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, between you and if I took the Ulran like discount for ships, we'd never pay. We'd never pay full price. Our ship would be stacked.
Yes.
Except I chose all the exploding light abilities.
Yeah, you might as well, right?
Way to be selfish.
I'm who I am.
That's right.
Who I am.
That's right.
Perpetual GM. You know, when you put me in there, I just got to be chaos
Truly.
player. Sweet. I'm ready to buy some laser swords.
All right. Who else has abilities that we need to point out?
No, I think we did them all, didn't we?
I think we did. Did I? I don't think I talked about my special ability because I picked it because it's a prerequisite for something I want later, but it essentially allows my arm to turn into a gun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Peacecraft for hating war, they are extremely effective.
They're very good at it. They're very good at it. What can I say?
Yeah.
Almost like they were made for that.
Funny. Yeah, it's weird.
Okay, sweet. So for equipment, oh my gosh, I have so much money. So both
I should not have that much money. How interesting.
My culture gave me a ton of money.
I've got 10,000.
I've got 15,000.
Oh no, I should have 10,000. Yeah.
I had 7,500.
Yeah, so I know that the wealthy economics, because that's what my other character is from, that just straight off gives you 10,000 to start with.
Yeah, I had that.
Suburban density also gives you some, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not sure if there are other culture markers that give you Argent to start with. Those are the two that I know for sure.
Yeah, I picked rural and poor. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. That's fine, because picking out equipment is like my least favorite.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I just was like, bandages, med kits, a shield, a tiny gun.
Perfect.
The power cells.
Perfect.
We're good to go.
A video game. There's all kinds of stuff in this list. Everything from vehicles that are tens of thousands of Argent down to
you can just get an armored car.
Yeah. Well, if you have, how much is that one?
An assault tank. If you have like 100,000.
100,000. Yeah, but you'd win everything.
You would win all the things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, really.
There's clothes, there's weapons,
Truly.
there's, space items like your communication badges and your smart tablets and things like that. There are games, dice games, and tabletop role-playing games and video games. You can really sort of outfit yourself in a bunch of different ways.
The flying armor suit is very tempting.
If I'm not, let's see, where is that? Oh yeah, she's expensive, but maybe worth it,
Ooh, common disguise badge.
Feel like I need armor if I'm going to be, in there just crystal blasting away.
Certainly a thought. There's a couple of.
I am getting a common disguise badge.
Yeah.
You can change the appearance of your clothes to anything you imagine as an action.
Yes.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Rent that runway. Some of the items that you can pick out in here have sort of specific mechanical ways that they work. The weapons all have tags that make them more effective in various ways. The personal shield generator talks about how it requires power cells and it's an action to insert a power cell and all of that. And then some of it is just, like I said, I keep going back to it because it's the easiest thing, but right, exactly. A game system, just for funsies. Yeah.
See, I think I'm going to buy a basic target robot. For those who enjoy physical activity and want to stay fit, a basic target robot can be programmed to help practice various shooting and fighting sports.
You're not going to spring for the advanced target robot?
Whoa, I didn't even see that. Oh,
it can fly.
Whoa! Well, we're doing that.
Camera.
Yep.
God, I would be so miserable to hang out with on a ship. Me just playing with my target robot constantly.
I love that.
All right, well, there we go. Bought an advanced target robot.
I'm going to buy a board game so that I can talk someone into playing with me. I hope it has really complicated rules.
Yay!
Oops. So this is another screen where once you've entered the number that you're purchasing, you should hit enter so that it adjusts your Argent remaining. Just tabbing out of it won't cause it to do the math.
I think I'll just do a basic camera. I don't need an advanced camera, even though flying an advanced
fancy.
camera around with telepathic control.
I think you need state of the art. I mean, I got, my advanced target robot. I imagine it's just like a drone, like a cool sports drone that squirts Gatorade at me every once in a while.
Yes.
For energy. Ooh, do I fight with a charged staff? I think so.
Where's the swords? There's a sword in here? I see a knife.
There is. It's a laser something. Laser sword. There it is.
I gotta have a laser sword.
Come
on.
It
was are pictured with a laser sword.
Goodness. I am the medic based on my inventory alone.
They're magically tuned to its wielder so that they are not harmed when touching the sword.
Oh, they're lightsabers.
They're lightsabers. Yeah.
They're lightsabers that can't hurt you.
Let's see.
Okay, but who's buying small boat?
I did see
You
that.
do need a small boat.
I'm just getting a bunch of tools. And my
Whoa.
arm is already a gun, so like...
Okay, I'm going to get the climate-controlled armor suit instead of just an armor suit. So I can also walk around in space.
That's awesome. Getting a lockpick. Although can you pick locks with the mechanics tools? Probably not.
No, there's a lockpick
I
kit.
know, but
You can make a case for anything in this game.
That's right.
You can pick locks with your mind if you make a strong enough case to your GM. So.
Pick locks with my gun arm.
That's one way to do it. Oh, it's open. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, it's fine.
I need it. Oh no, I've got a disguise badge, so I don't need a semi-formal outfit.
Yeah. Communication badges allow you to talk to your ship, the magic intelligence on your ship, and translate all languages.
Oh, I probably should get one of those.
Yeah, I got one of those as well.
Those are sort of your general, like, if you're going to buy some rope.
But I only want one.
Not 12.
Yeah,
just one.
Yeah, just one.
About 20 of these. Is that okay?
That's fine. Oh, but now I'm looking at the flying armor suit.
Right?
I keep being like, well, if I'm going to spend 5,000 on normal armor, I might as well spend 6,000 on climate controlled armor. But if I'm going to spend 6,000 on climate control, I might as well spend 7,500 on a flying armor suit.
I mean,
That's just a really good deal at the end of the day.
If you're going to do it, it's worth doing, right?
You know what? Yeah. F it.
Buy a tabletop role playing
that's
game.
sort of how I'm feeling about this. There's not going to be a ton of money left for the ship after I'm done with this list, but what can you do?
You know what? I'm going to buy a TTRPG so I can practice other personas.
Nice.
I love that.
Vampire knuckles. What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those are not what they sound like. The vampire weapons, I had to read twice. They do not, in fact, take health from others and give it to you. They actually take your health and use it to enhance the weapon. Yeah.
Oh,
They're also
terrible.
very illegal, it looks like.
Oh, yes. Well, that too. They're also kind of expensive.
Yeah. No, I don't need that. I've got 4,100 left.
Should I buy a charged chaku, which it looks like are nunchucks, but with electricity?
Yes. I mean, yes.
That's horrifying.
Wait, I want that, but I need to figure out how to get it. What do I not take?
What do you mean I have empty fields?
I don't need this as much as I want it.
Oh, I need a smart slab if I'm going to do some science.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to science.
To science, insert smart slab, which basically feels like a tablet.
Yeah, definitely.
Surf the Complanet.
A complanet is like the internet
Yeah.
in this game.
Only where people are more complimentary.
Well, one hopes.
Well, depends where you hang out.
Yeah.
The internet powered by nice.
But nice people.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Ryan.
We truly are in a science fantasy game.
That's the fantasy part of it.
Yep.
So I just want a regular sword, so I don't think I'm gonna... Why does everything have to be lasers?
Is there a regular sword?
No!
I couldn't find one. That was the closest thing I found.
I guess knife is the closest.
Yeah. It's a knife. It's very
Larger
big.
knife.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a knife for a peacecraft is fine.
They come
for
in a variety of shapes and sizes,
Right.
it says.
Okay. You know what?
I'll buy a knife and you can have a peacecraft knife and it'll be a sword.
It allows us to have the whole, you call that a knife? And then I pull out my laser sword. It's a laser sword.
It's a laser sword.
All right. Well, sorry, whoever our ship is going to be. I don't have much money for you.
You know what?
Yeah, I don't either.
I think I'm going to stop here. Wait, face-changing disguise badge.
I wondered if you were going to see that.
I thought you got that already.
No, he got the one that changes your clothes, not your face.
I know.
Oh.
Wow.
I have to have one laser pistol.
With the face-changing badge, you can change your clothes and your body to anything you can imagine.
Whoa, you don't need that other one. Get that.
As long as your bodily appearance remains the same species as your actual... Oh, okay, now I got to fix my equipment because I need this.
I feel like I would definitely have a headlamp, so I have to... I'm that guy. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm a headlamp guy.
I did buy 4 flashlights so that we can each have one.
Oh, you're the best.
Aw.
You want to make friends so bad.
So bad.
That's amazing.
I also bought a lot of Band-Aids.
All right, well, I've got 1,100 left.
So did I.
Is that good?
That's pretty
It
low.
is. It is what it is. I think
It's fine.
so.
We don't have to play.
Right. Well, exactly. That was
I
sort
want
of
a
my
cozy
feeling.
ship. I don't need this
So
camera.
I think, I mean, look, my sample size is small. Celeste probably has a larger sample size for this, but I think for the Burn Bryte cast, we all had between, I want to say like 2,000 and 4,000 Argent left over. Very generally speaking.
And that's why you have a ship of 5?
Livability 5. Well, sort of. Part of it is also because there's a Cthulhu special ability. One of our characters is a Cthulhu, and there's a Cthulhu special ability that I can't remember what it's called, but it increases the livability of your ship because they're so pleasant and homey.
They're homemakers, so the ship
very
feels nice. And yeah,
So
I think
that helped.
I bought my ridiculously expensive suit of armor and a pistol and a sword, so and my headlamp. So I think I'll end with 4,000 Argent, which would
That's fine.
That's good.
Okay, since you're going to be at
Respectable.
4,000, I'll stick around 1,100 then. I decided my camera is kind of essential for my character's shtick.
I only left with 550, but I also only had 7,500 to begin with.
Sure.
But you bought flashlights for everybody, so
I did. I bought flashlights for everyone.
Okay. All right. I'm going to click next before I spend any more money.
Oh, yeah, that sounds
Done.
good. Next, you are about to navigate away. Any available Argent will be sent to the group chat.
Yeah. And that is not reversible. So just make sure you are set.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. How do I name my character now? Oh, it's right here.
So,
It's
yeah,
on the
you click
right
into your
there.
character or
Oh, yeah,
you have some empty fields. That's okay.
yeah, mine said I have empty fields too, but I don't know where those would be.
So I think I've not been able to figure this out, but this is one of the other things that I think they need to update on the skills tab, because there are slots for skills that starting character will fill in.
Gotcha.
And I think I have clicked around as much as I can, and I think that's what it's talking about when it gives you that warning.
Gotcha.
Oh, my name is still Crystal Boy. So that is
That's okay. My name is Hullabaloo.
Hullabaloo and Crystal Boy.
Oh, I get to make a fun super lawn name. That's great.
Cool.
1, 2, 3,
Love
4,
it.
5, 6, 7, 8 ish names all stuck together without a space.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh,
Olran names have many vowel sounds, and their surnames are at least 4 syllables long. Oh, good.
Oh, good.
I think if you continue putting like eyes at the end of boy,
yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first line of
and then like a couple apostrophes,
We've got-
that'll like
yeah.
break up the
the
syllables.
got,
first
like-
line of Eno names. Eno naming conventions are very complicated.
Yep.
Cool.
You picked it.
I know. I'm just glad you didn't pick this, Amelia.
Gotta read the fine print.
No.
Oh, here we go. Terra Boyo Boy. Is that Terra Boro Boy? Yes. Terra
has-
Boyo Boy.
It has a little chart of what your name consists of.
Mm-hmm.
Consists of the name of the celestial body on which they were born, then the highest ranking parent's given name. That's great. Then the lowest ranking parent's given name. Also okay. Plus any formal organizations of which the Eno is part of, the Eno's pack name, their house name ending in a suffix that indicates the Eno's gender. Wow. E for non-binary, A for woman, O for man, given name, and finally their surname. Wow.
Uh-huh.
Ah, okay.
They're political. It's complicated. You got to know who you're meeting.
So let's get back to me in like tomorrow. I'll have it.
I'm gonna stick with Crystal Boy because
Crystal Boy.
I'm just insatiable.
Because there's nothing that says that you can't buck convention.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
Maybe your parents were like hippies. And
you
like,
can
do what I
get
want.
down to a more familiar name.
But for short, we call you Steve.
Yeah. Names are quite long and often shortened to a familiar name comprised of house and given name for close friends. As well
Are we close friends?
I'll change my name to
I just need you to
Frongo.
answer this question. Are we close friends?
Of course.
Wait, are we friends?
Wait, just
My
you
story
bought me
time.
a flashlight.
Yes, the story
It's
path.
done.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Level up.
All right. So what's the house name? Is that just a...
That's your science thing or that you picked.
Is that?
That was your house.
Oh, okay. So, and then my given name. And that can be anything.
Mm-hmm.
My min-maxing brain is somehow piqued by this Eno name schema, and I don't know why.
I love that.
I super duper appreciate all the example names that they already gave. As a GM, it's great just for NPCs having something to draw from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because they're so out there. Like,
yeah.
I would love like a random name generator for the species.
Ooh.
If only.
You know what? I bet it's coming down the line. Because they have a lot of great random generator tools built in already. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite is in combat for GMs, they have the consequence table, which is so basically in combat, if somebody fails, the GM can choose to take a point that they can use to do evil, nasty things, or they can invoke a consequence that happens to a character. And the consequences table, it's interesting because it's like 100 different things, but they're all like a couple word long prompts that aren't super specific, but they're very evocative. So it's like something breaks or like something falls or, so it's cool to interpret that in the moment. It can mean a lot of different things depending on your field of combat. So I definitely think more random generated tables are in the future for development, which is very cool. All right. Frongo Crystal Boy is ready to fight.
Okay, so
I love it.
By this convention then, my given name is Tiana. So I go by Tiana. Just trying to put together a chart of how I can name my character. Gonna need a spreadsheet for this one.
Yeah, but I mean, from that point, that's basically it. You're ready to dive.
We've made characters.
Yeah.
You've made characters, and you're ready to get started playing Burn Bryte.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the character mancer makes it so easy to walk through, and even the little things that are a little bit confusing now inside the system, I definitely see those being updated and changed as time goes on.
Yeah,
I think in the interest of time, we'll skip the ship building.
Sure.
Yes.
Because it's already almost 3 hours.
I'm fading fast.
But yeah, oh my gosh, I would want to create a ship if we had time. Let's just assume it's fabulous.
Yeah, it is pretty fabulous.
At least a livability of 4 because that would allow me to use my special ability.
Yeah, there are a lot of cool ships to choose from. Our module, specifically Burning Daylight, gives you 3 options to pick from, so it kind of limits it. But included in the base game are stats for a bunch of different types of ships that are so cool and so innovative. Yeah, and then working together with your team to come up with the magic intelligence, so the personality that runs your ship, because they actually are like a character, of your crew. They have a personality and, they make decisions and they interact. So that's a really fun thing to do during session 0, when you are preparing to play this game.
Awesome. Oh.
Are you good, Ryan?
I think, I'm sorry. I read something wrong. It's actually, you go by your given gendered name and then your given name, not the organization or the house. Ah, this is complex.
We promise everyone listening at home that it's not as complex for the other species.
No.
Just Ryan's.
Just this one. Just,
Welcome to activating my trap card, apparently, of
naming conventions.
Something. Okay, so Tiana is definitely part of my naming scheme, and I'm wondering I could actually go by that as my gendered name because I want my character to identify as a woman.
Well, there you go.
So Tiana, what's a good second name? What's a good given name? Come on, throw something at me. Anybody?
Roswin.
Roswin. I like it. Tiana Roswin. I like it.
You sound like a classy broad.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
And that's just my real name, maybe.
Maybe.
But then you also are living a double life, so we know you by a different name.
Stop telling us about you now.
That's part of my first event. So.
Circles within circles.
Oh, right.
I don't need that until we're actually playing the game.
Sweet.
Oh, Lordy. Wow, we did it.
We did it.
We did it.
Awesome.
We made some characters.
I like this.
Yeah, we did.
So
yeah. Pretty painless, right?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's just follow the prompts and do the thing.
Yeah.
And you're good to go.
I wish all things in life were that easy.
I know,
Truly.
Right? If only.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun. I had a really good time.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. I enjoyed this a lot. I really like the world and this was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Well, thank you so much for having us. Every opportunity to learn more and delve more into the world of Burn Bryte. It's just been an absolute delight. So excited to share it with more folks.
Absolutely.
And you got to build a character this time.
And I got to make a character this time. My crystal explosion boy. Oh, man. One day I'll play you.
One day.
The number of times people say that on our show, too. Like, I'm a GM. I never get to make characters. Like, it's so much fun.
It's real.
Eugenio, do you want to remind everybody where they can find you online and what kind of stuff you're up to?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can find me on Twitter is probably the most central place. You can follow me on Twitter at DMJazzyHands. I am the DM and producer of the actual Play D&D podcast called The Last Refuge. You can follow the show on Twitter at DND Last Refuge, and we release new episodes every Wednesday. For all the rest of my stuff, you can just check out my website, eugeniovargas.com. I'm not going to spell it. It'll be in the notes or something, I'm sure. But you're driving anyway, so you can't write it down. Pull over very carefully, turn your flashers on.
Get the napkin from Dunkin' Donuts. Get the pen, write it down.
That's right. No, you can check out the episode notes and go to eugeniovargas.com. It does have stuff from my other life also as a theater artist, but there is a tab there and a page there for gaming where you can find the adventures, the D&D adventures I've published on the DMs Guild, links to my Twitch channel where I stream video games a couple times a week and all that other good stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right, Celeste, how about yourself?
Yeah, thank you all so much for having me. My name is Celeste Conowitch. The best way to keep up with all the shows, streams, things I'm writing is definitely to follow me on Twitter at @CConowitch, or you can check out my website, celesteconowitch.com, for the entire catalog and schedule of all the things. Other than that, yes, please, if you like Dungeons and Dragons and want to listen to more of it after listening to The Last Refuge, you can look up Venture Maidens, which is an actual play D&D podcast that releases every other Sunday. We also stream all of our episodes Wednesday nights on Twitch /The Venture Maidens. And of course, hey, if you like this system, you should head over to Roll20 app on Twitch Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time. You can check out Eugenio and I playing through Burning Daylight. And we are going to be playing that until sort of the end of September, I believe, as we're going through the module there. So please do check that out. All our backlog of videos are also posted on the Roll20 YouTube channel. So if you want to see Burn Bryte in action, if you have any questions or anything, we would love to chat with you. So, follow Roll20. Yeah, come hang out with us in Twitch chat. Just check out the show.
Well, thank you both for joining us, and thank you to everyone for listening. Please join us again next week for our discussion episode.
Woo. Woo. I really hope you all enjoyed the character creation for this game as much as I did. Just wait until next episode where I reveal my character's full name. It only took me 1.5 months to get right. But before we head out, I just wanted to remind you all about the AudioVerse Awards finalists voting that is going on right now until the end of October. And to absolutely check out my new campaign, streaming every other Friday starting October 16th on my Twitch channel. Links to both of these are going to be in the show notes. Also, if you like what we're doing here on the show, please consider leaving us a review. We are checking all of Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podchaser, Facebook, and even Podcast Addict often. So leaving a review in any of those places will really brighten our day. Also, it really does help us out. We currently don't have any more reviews to read on the show, and that is very sad to both of us. So send some cheer and let us know how we're doing in that official review capacity. For now, let's close things down for the episode and get to those show blurbs. We're really glad you joined us for this episode, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care, everyone, and keep making those amazing people. Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter at CreationCast or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Bolter, and I can be found on Twitter at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can be found in the show notes. If you'd like to leave us a rating or review, we have links to various review platforms out there, including Apple Podcasts, in our show notes. Also, check the show notes for links to our other projects. Thanks for joining us, and remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We will see you next time.
Now we gotta read some show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Character Creation Cast is hosted by the One Shot Podcast Network. If you enjoyed our show, visit oneshotpodcast.com, where you will find other great shows like Modifier.
Modifier is an interview show hosted by Megan Dornbrock, all about why and how people change games. From the hobbyist to the professional, from house rules to publication, we all have in mind a better way to play. What's yours?